Kanpai!
Kanpai!
Gonna take a sip. He's good. Oh, he's just gonna chug it. Anyway, welcome, weebs, to this week's episode of Kanpai Cast. We had last week off a bit impromptu. It was down
things happened.
to things happened. And yeah, so we're back. We're here to talk about the release. The full season review of Summer 2022.
The sweet release of Summer's horrible grip on us.
Yeah, and now into the cozy embrace of Chainsaw Man. So anyway,
Nice.
But we're gonna move on to housekeeping. The first thing we do, and just to point out, we have Thaylien. Thalien's joined us today. He will be covering for Loz, who unfortunately has conflu.
Poor Loz.
Poor innocent Loz. He wasn't able to attend or anything for this week. And so Nasuth has kindly covered up the screen, and now I can't actually see what. I'm just going to read the notes over here.
Oh, sorry.
Right, so, just to remind everyone, we have timestamps and chapters allowing people to navigate to this section. To the section of the show that they're most interested in watching. And don't you know, 4 out of 5 YouTube algorithms recommend liking this video and leaving a comment below telling us your favorite anime this season. It was a little bit of slim pickings, I will say. So yeah, it's
I don't know if that's actually gonna work. I just realized I forgot to add a show to my list.
What?
I realized I forgot to add a show to my list, but I don't think it'll actually work because it technically started in spring.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll just manually pick that one up.
We're just constantly adding shows to our list. Something like that. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about...
Except me.
Except Thaylien, thank you so much for catching up so quickly on a few shows to help us out today.
Oh, dude, I had to as well. It was mental. But anyway, so we're going to be talking about the various different shows. We've got some honorable mentions. So we're not going to be talking about Uncle from Another World because that's been postponed until it's autumn 2022 now. It's going to start airing now, isn't it?
Right? Okay. Yes, they're going to restart airing from the first episode, and they hope to be back on track by the time they catch up to where they had to stop. So I think like episode 8 or 9 they had to stop.
I think so, but I never saw 7 anywhere. But anyway.
Yeah, I heard they were going to stop, so I kind of stopped.
Shows we're not covering because Loz was watching them. So that's Overlord, Parallel World Pharmacy, and even though both Loz and I were watching it, I did not have capacity to catch up. The Accuser's Guide to Babysitting. Plus, I just wanted to watch it with him.
Yeah.
Then we have just a list of shows we've previously dropped. Luminous Witches, Call of the Night, Rent a Girlfriend, and The Devil is a Part-Timer.
I thought you dropped Rent a Girlfriend. I was pretty sure you had.
Yeah. I'm just like, people are going wild for Call of the Night, and I just don't understand it. I'm like, do I want to finish this? No, I really fucking don't. 6 episodes was hell of that. Anyway, so we are going to start, and because Nasuth has the largest list...
I do, actually.
By the way, I'm just going to point out, we're saving the best, or what I personally think is the best for last.
What we agree is definitely the best so far.
Huh? What we agree is the best so far. Yeah, well, I mean, the best out of this season, to say the least. But,
I may not agree with that, actually. I mean, I love it, but I may not agree with that.
There's going to be big slaps. There's going to be
I can see why you wouldn't, but the rest of us haven't caught up on that one yet.
Yes.
Anyway, so I'm going to throw this. I'm going to throw this at Nasuth. Which one are you going to go for first?
Let's go ahead and start with Fuuto PI, if you wouldn't mind. I find this one to be an acquired taste.
I am surprised.
It's really good. It's really, really good. But you have to like tokusatsu stuff.
Right.
Not just that, but I feel that you really have to have at least a firm grounding in Kamen Rider.
I disagree. I feel like the first 3 episodes are very confusing. Yes. But I think by the 6th episode, at the very least, they've done a pretty decent job of explaining, at the very least, that these people have this ability because they've got, special magic sticks. We don't know necessarily their past, but we at least understand that their abilities come from the magic sticks, and the bad guys have the power of USB.
Yeah.
But it does have a little bit of the Monster of the Week problem, but they're like mini arcs. It's like 2 or 3 episodes, and then they defeat a bad guy, and that's okay. It might frustrate some people who are looking for just a forwarding of the plot, but these monsters, these mini arcs, do give you bits and pieces of the larger plot that seems to be developing. Now, to be fair, only episode 10 has aired as of recording. We don't know how it's going to end up, but I feel so far that they've done a pretty decent job of the pacing. Maybe a tiny bit slow at first, maybe. The characters are really fun. The story seems to be mostly about this bad guy. I don't know how to describe him. His name's Aurora, and he seems to be like a Kamen Rider but bad, and he seems to be in control of this other world version of the city they're in, Fuuto, and the girl that they pick up, that they help, has some kind of strange connection to him that we don't understand yet. But he's interested in...
Just to interject, we're going to point out we've only seen 10 episodes thus far. The whole season has not finished airing.
I just noticed that those were not changing. So, but yeah. So they help this girl out who was passing in and out of the other world, and she joins them, and she's got some weird connection to everything that's going on in the background. But he's interested in making making monsters. It's like he's almost testing people to see if they're worthy of joining his team. And so far it hasn't really worked out for him because, Kamen Rider. But I'm really interested to see. I like I said, I'm really enjoying it. I'd love to give it a must watch, but I really do think that you have to have at least some enjoyment of the tokusatsu sort of style and fandom and that sort of thing.
I mean, I will say I do feel that this series is a lot less slapstick.
Yeah, it is funny, but it's also serious. Yeah.
Its predecessor, the crew were super incompetent, right? Basically the main detective, he would just constantly stumble upon the solution, and I didn't particularly like that. But in this, he's a lot more profound. He's a lot more.
They have their
got his shit together.
Yeah.
So I very much, I like this. I like this a lot. But the one thing I will also point out, I feel is a little bit of a negative, is that every episode is a cliffhanger, right? So
until they kind of wrap up and I guess even then you get those hints. Yeah. Sorry.
Each arc is at least 2 episodes, right? Yeah. And it just even the first arc was 3 episodes. I'm like, just give me fucking Kamen Rider, give me double, give me. I
do like the transformations. They're so much fun.
I also like the fact that it's not CG. It's all hand animated, and they didn't skimp out on it at all. It looks really nicely done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they got a lot of money. Let's face it. They could put a lot of money behind this series.
It quite clearly is. So,
yeah. As to for some reason, the way you described each arc being 2 or 3 episodes made me think of old Doctor Who, where they would always end on a cliffhanger, and then in literally the first minute they'd be fine.
But it is important to know, because it just feels like you can get blue-balled really badly.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's fair.
And I feel that this is certainly a series that may be better off just binge watching the whole thing in one go, as opposed to, yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, I did watch the last 5 episodes all at once, more or less, and that helped a lot, probably.
Right. Yeah. Should we move on to my one?
Let's do.
Okay, then let us go to Engage Kiss. So I am instantly going to give this, if this is going to work, which it may not work. I just realized, I think this is the one feature that doesn't work. I'm going to give this a pass. So the problem I have with this series is that, I mean, with a lot of isekais, the plots are often very, very obvious where the hell they're going. Right? Like, super obvious where they're going. And I don't think Engage Kiss is any particular different. Right? You know, it's the same format where the plot is really obvious. But part of the problem with Engage Kiss is that they only really have one plot element, one plot point that they want to cover per episode. And we're talking a full, like, 20 to 25 minute episode. And they're only covering one fucking plot point. Like, it's just, like, yes, we worked this out 2 episodes ago. Can we get on with it? And
Quick comment. I hopefully we won't be playing that protagonist quiz thing again, because I can't tell this guy apart from like 6 others.
Yeah, I was thinking he looks a lot like Now For Me.
Maybe the hairstyle, but that's about it.
Yeah,
right.
And the green
expression.
Like, it has like a lot of really cool elements to it, but I'm gonna spoil it a little bit. Let's see if this works. It doesn't seem to work. Nasuth hit this button.
It's right here now.
Is it working at all?
There we go.
There we go. Right.
Spoilers.
Eventually get there. Right. So the big twist, so to speak, is that we've got our main protagonist who works with the pink-haired girl. Right. Our bland self-insert protagonist who works with the pink-haired girl. And the twist is that whenever she powers up with a kiss, he loses a memory, right? So
they could do something
which sounds
really
like it'd be really
interesting.
Wasn't that basically the plot of the second Narnia movie?
I have no idea. But the whole point is that one of the main characters in this series, one of the side characters, we saw her a moment ago wearing that weird blue combat uniform. She is the ex-girlfriend of the main protagonist. And the big thing is, he can barely remember his relationship with her, right? But they don't really explore it to any capacity, right? They reveal it halfway through the season, and it's just like, are you going to do anything with this? No, we're going to continue to hide it as if no one fucking realized. Like, people ask him questions like, oh, out of this list of 4 people, who do you think the bad guy is? I can't remember who any of these people are, right? Yeah, these are people you interact with on the fucking daily, right? So, honest, like, so I thought, you know what? I'll stop at episode 6 and I'll just binge watch the whole thing. I got halfway through episode 7. I just couldn't continue. I just can't. It's so fucking slow. So yeah, this is a drop for me. Pass.
Well,
fair enough.
That's not too bad.
That's with the notes we made in the spoilers. There could be so much actual
potential.
Yeah, things going on in that, and that just disappoints me. The idea that they've left that out.
Yeah. Right, we're going to move on to...
With a right-click menu open, Nasuth.
What?
You seem to have a right-click menu open.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
Anyway, right.
No, your input's fine. Weird. I don't know.
So, Nasuth, are you going to Yurei Deco now?
No, I'm actually going to go to Shine On Bakumatsu Bad Boys because it has a similar feel to the one you just covered.
Right.
Where I stopped at episode 9. I'm giving this one a pass. I really wanted to like this one. But 8 main characters is just too many. Plus the couple of side characters, plus the bad guys. It's too many characters to keep up with. I can't do it.
Right.
Because every single time an event happens, every single hero, one of the heroes, has to react to it in some way. And sometimes they also have the bad guys react to it. And it's just like, what are you doing? Why are you doing this?
Can I just point out, Nasuth doing this with his hands is fucking brilliant.
Yeah, it sounds like some of the complaints that they had about Bleach in some of the earlier series, where they had too many characters. But at least those they broke up into different fights and things.
They do that. They do have like groups of 3 and 4, doing things. But it's even then, it's still, we focus on this group of 4 and they each have a reaction, and then we focus on this group of 3 doing another thing and they each have a reaction. And it's like
This is a problem I have with a lot of Shonen Jump based stuff. Is like the fact that, oh god, what's the name of the damn My Hero Academia has a classroom of I think 25 students, and the only one that has no notable existence is the Invisible Girl, right? The rest of them like have like this weird. I don't know. I've only seen 3 seasons of it.
At least it still spends the majority of the time on Midoriya.
No, wait until you get to the season 3 Nasuth.
Okay.
Wait until you get. Honestly,
this starts at that level. This doesn't even give you the build up to that level. It just starts there.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising, really.
I really wanted to like this one. I like the interesting idea of focusing on the Bakumatsu period. The idea of the soul swords. It's got some seinen concepts along with the shonen stuff. There's some interesting, what makes a family? Does who you're born to? Does your blood make a family, or does working together make a family? That sort of thing. It's got that stuff in it, but it's just they just can't pull it off, and it's so sad. I even like I know you think the art style is weird, and it is weird, but I like it. I really enjoyed that part too.
No, I think it's well animated than anything.
Yeah, that's fair.
The hair looks dumb.
Oh, we've got a better one than that coming up.
What, for dumb hair?
Well, no, for dumb animation styles.
But I mean, part of the problem is that like there's 2 screenshots in our background with this purple-haired character, and I swear, love of God, they're 2 different characters.
There are some weird off frames that the animation
just
looks really
wrong.
wonky. Yeah. But for the most part, it's pretty decent.
Okay, so I think we're currently 2 passes for 3 shows. So I don't know if you have any questions or anything. No, should we move on?
I think we're going to leave that one exactly where it is. So
there's
we want to move on to.
There's clearly character development that they wanted to tell you, but it just got bogged down. There's too much character develop, too many characters to develop.
Fair.
So I think we should move on to Xeno's second, because we're probably going to finish up with my one last, aren't we?
No. This is your
I have
one.
extra.
It's your one first.
Oh, of course, yeah. So, okay, I'll move on to mine. So my first one would be one that was actually dropped earlier by the rest of the cast, which is the maid I hired recently is mysterious. Now, as it stands, watching now, there's only 10 episodes out. I think there's supposed to be 11, but it doesn't really need them to know what's going on and to make a good review of this show. See, the basic premise is that
Sorry, what score are you going at first?
Oh yeah, good point. Actually, I'm gonna put this at nothing special, with a borderline on acquired taste, because it does actually get better. But okay, so actually, before I go into the basic premise, I do want to talk about the base manga for this, because I wanted to figure out why it seemed so choppy, so broken up in every episode. And it turns out that the actual manga is not a 4-comma. but it is very close. It's literally only about 4 to 8 pages per chapter.
Ooh.
Right.
So it is really, really short. There's 50 chapters out.
Yeah.
And I think that covers 6 small volumes. Because the majority of the actual space filler is done by the artist doing these, like fun full-page illustrations.
Mm-hmm.
So the basic premise is that in a slightly modern era, our young protagonist here, Yurei, has lost his parents. He's a rich young man who is used to having servants, butlers, maids, the whole deal. And unfortunately, his parents die, and he has to live pretty much on his own because he can no longer afford to keep all the house staff. And while living on his own, a strange maid shows up and offers to work for him for free. Her name is Lilith, and she is probably one of the best visually designed eye-catch characters I've seen in a long time. People watching can see the screenshots and see what she's like. But they really do play into it. So there's a lot of booba. There's lots of shots of her eyes, and the artist is a Yurei artist. She likes making girl-on-girl romance stuff. Not action, just romance. Okay. So in this particular case, she's designed this so that our self-insert is the young boy. So we can say what we would do in that situation, or whether we want to actually join him in that situation.
Okay.
The comedy, however, is the fact that he just finds everything she does really suspicious. She, with her trying to be nice to him, that's suspicious. Why would she be doing that? She's working for free. Why is she buying him new clothes? Not the fact that he needs them, just like, why is she buying me new clothes? That's really suspicious. Why does my heart race when I look her in the eyes? That's really suspicious. She must be casting love spells or love potions over
a witch.
She's a witch. And it's not immediately clear because of how visually different they are, but there's actually not that much of an age gap between the two. So visually, it's very visually different, but it doesn't change the fact that our boy is still about 11, 12 years old. That doesn't change. So it still makes it a little gross on the thing.
Well, I'd argue that there's like 10 years between them.
No, she's only like 15, 16.
Yeah, they
later on, 15, 16.
They chop this up, and later on you'll find that find the reason she's there. You find the thing, and she's actually only about 5 years older than him.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
But the initial part of the show is a little bit gross, a little bit confusing because of how it portrays it. But it gets better because when they bring in other characters.
Okay.
When they bring other characters into the series, it actually averages out into a much better comedy and a much better, wholesome thing.
So we've got like all these screenshots are taken from the first 3 episodes. There were no additional characters apart from these 2 in the first. So when do we see these additional characters? 4. Episode Sod's Law. Sod's fucking law, right?
Episode 4, he goes back to school for the first time, and one of his friends at school, a rich girl with her own butler, who is also a woman, and they attended the same school as Lilith for becoming a servant. The same academy.
Right.
The 2 of them are fantastic because the girl is a romanticist. She immediately suspects that there's some romantic connection between these 2, and it's like, oh, I'm all for it. I'm going to help you with everything. Is it going?
Okay.
Okay. And while the maid is like the straight man, so the butler's like the straight man, and like confiscates her manga before she can give it to him to show what the romance is really supposed to be about.
Okay, we may. I got one follow-up question, Nasuth. I don't know if you got anything.
Let's see. There we go.
Really, no.
That's.
It sounds just so boring to me.
Right. Okay. So I got one follow-up question. Right. which we may have to go into spoilers for. May, right? But does the maid's name have anything to do with why she's there?
No.
Okay, fine. Right, should we move on to the next one then?
Yeah, let's go.
Right, okay, so...
Xeno's turn, right?
Yeah, it's my turn now. Which one am I going for? Oh, right, okay, so... Black Summoner. So, I just finished this off today, in fact, because I wanted to make sure I'd seen this before reviewing the whole thing. And I think Loz gives this an acquired taste, but I give this a nothing special. Right?
Man, part of me feels like if it takes you 12 episodes to get to nothing special, that's a pass.
No. Right, I was on nothing special like back from episode 3 or 4. Right. There are elements. Okay, so there's one redeeming quality of this. Right, the plot of this is very wishy-washy. Events just kind of happen. I'm gonna elaborate a little bit. In one of the earlier episodes, a prince from another nation, it is actually said which nation, turns up at the starter town that our protagonist is hanging around in, who is an adventurer at the Adventurers Guild. So he comes to the town and he's looking for a strong adventurer, right? And he's being a real dick about it. And the adventurer, our protagonist, just basically kicks his ass and his knight's ass, his protection squad. Just completely kicks his ass, right? Then later, if you've beaten up anyone just on the street, I would have thought there had been some form of ramifications, either by the town guard, city guard, the royal guard, whatever you want to come with, right? No, nothing comes about of this, right? To the point of, he goes to the Adventurer Guild, and the Adventurers Guild turns around and says, oh, because you beat up this prince, I want you to go do this quest for me, right? I'm an adventurer. I'll go fucking do the quest regardless. Why the fuck is this a plot point? I don't understand, right? It's a dumb plot point. Then, another plot point. This is the redeeming plot point. This is what keeps it out of pass, right? Our main protagonist wakes up one morning. This is a later episode. He wakes up one morning and goes like, man, I wish I could get some rice for breakfast, right?
Oh, no. No, I remember you talking about this.
No, I'm not going to go into laborious detail. Turns around, one of his summons, one of his minions, turns around and says, like, you can actually get rice from this port town. So, on the way to the port town, they fight some bandits. They take the bandits to be arrested at the guild hall at the port town. They discover, oh, look, water and things. Let's go for a swim. Blah, 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 blah. It's like 2 or 3 episodes in this port town, and they do remember the whole reason they actually went. They do remember the rice. So that is genuinely a redeeming quality, right?
I thought for sure they'd forget the rice.
But the sheer volume... of dumb plot elements in this. Like, you've taken this plot from Rising of the Shield Hero. You've taken this plot from Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World. You've taken this plot from Overlord. You've taken this plot from... They've taken so many fucking plot points from other isekais. Like, I don't know what's original, but maybe it's just that there's just too many isekais out there now.
That is a problem, huh?
Right, yeah. So, definitely nothing special from me. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I know Loz rates this higher than Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World, which I'll get to.
Well,
I think
that's not actually hard in many ways.
Hey, I did hear that they actually ended up with a harem, so... You know.
No, I'll talk about that. I'll talk about that. Right?
Yes, we will explain.
But yeah, so Loz rates that. I personally prefer Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World, but I'll elaborate as to why. But still, it's a nothing special regardless. So if you guys have got nothing else, let's move on to the next one.
Oh, wow, it's my turn again, isn't it? Let's actually get to Yurei Deco this time.
Okay, doke. Oh, it's so good that buttons work.
No, right? I know, right?
Uh-huh.
So I really wanted to like this show. I really did, because it had so many interesting ideas. But it ends up at nothing special. And like I just said, if it takes 12 episodes and I'm left with nothing special, it's a pass. Don't waste your time.
Okay.
Do not waste your time. Do not get an invested into this show, because it will just leave you empty. All the ingredients are there. Like everything that you want is right in there, but then they just it's. I think in my notes I likened it to pulling a Matrix Reloaded, where the first movie was really good, and then the second movie was just and the third movie were just terrible. It's yeah.
So it's just because they were terrible, rather than because they actually mimic some of the plot points.
Yes.
So
it's like that.
So you said that that this show has everything that you could possibly want. They just right. Do they have shading?
No.
Well, they don't have everything I want.
I meant as far as like plot point goes.
Look, it does have shading.
Where?
Just very subtle shading.
I see no shading.
Well, that's because you're about the subtleness capacity of a teaspoon.
I'm not quite sure what that means. Anyway, what are your...
That's because you have no subtlety.
I mean, it's got stuff like, it deals with philosophical stuff like, is there what is truth and fiction? If you delete, evidence, then you craft the truth. What makes a family, again, like I said in Bakumatsu. What it means to be a human, like are machines, can they be similar to humans? Free will versus predictable outcome. Say, let's get into the actual story, the story of it, and this will involve spoilers, so be prepared for that. Buckle right up. Now. So they live in a city called Tom Sawyer, right?
Okay,
and
you're already losing me.
And we've got Finn and Barry.
Okay.
Huckleberry, Finn, Barry, Finn.
Whatever.
Hack, Barry, and Finn. That's right. Those are our three actual main characters: Hack, Barry, and Finn. And they are trying to figure out who's behind the AI that controls Tom Sawyer. Tom Sawyer. And that's their ultimate goal. Everything that they do works towards that goal, because they're trying to find out who Phantom Zero is. Phantom Zero is a shadowy figure that every so often appears and just destroys everyone's love. Love is their currency. It's like social standing. The social credit that they have in China. It's like that, right? And then they find out that all of their movements have been predicted by the person in charge of Tom Sawyer, who lives in Mark Twain. And at this point, I'm kind of going, "Fuck you, show." But then we actually go up to Mark Twain, and we find out that she did all of this. She created Phantom Zero and did all of this machinations in the background to find her successor. Because you see, the machines, the predictable algorithms, they need a human core to really function, because humans are unpredictable in some regards. So she did all of this just to find somebody to take over. And
isn't this done by the same person that did Devilman Crybaby?
Yes.
Yeah, that fact alone instantly makes me not want to watch it. Right? I mean, granted, it's like, death of the artist sort of thing, but like the ramifications of Devilman Crybaby has stayed with me to the point of I don't want to watch anything they've come up with.
But it had so much potential to build up with this whole dystopian customer care center that ran everything and deleted information that they found harmful, and you know, it had so much potential there. And then you actually get to the end, and it's like that's dumb.
But this is like, I literally just looked it up. It's an original piece of work. Right?
It is an original piece of work.
It's an original piece of work that came from the mind that bloody put together Devilman Crybaby. Right?
That's just the studio that animated it. Come on.
No, it's the same guy.
Oh, okay.
It's genuinely the same. I swear to God, it's the same director. Right? Like, I hate to be that guy, but what the fuck were you expecting? Like,
hey,
you know,
at
if
least
that's like
Devilman
saying,
Crybaby had the decency to blow up the world. Okay, all right. Okay. They saved this one. Well, quote unquote save.
Right, but this is akin to saying like, oh yeah, I'm gonna watch anything that I can't remember. I can never remember his family name. Ano, the guy that came up with Evangelion.
Hideki.
It's like watching is it Hideki Ano?
Hideki, yeah.
Hideki. It's like watching anything that he's come up with and saying, expecting it not to be a complete mind fuck, right?
I'm fine with it being a mind fuck. It's empty is the problem.
No. My point is, you're going in, watching an Ano film or series, it's gonna be a mind fuck. Okay. Expecting anything different is pointless.
Expecting something not empty from this person is...
Exactly!
Okay, alright.
That's what I'm saying. Sorry.
I
ranted again about Devilman Crybaby.
At least I liked... I know that you hate it, and I understand why you hate it. But at least that one was, like, weird and interesting. Yeah. This one starts out weird and interesting, and then just kind of...
Right, we should move on.
We should move on.
Right, do you want to take off the spoilers?
Yeah.
So who's next?
It's you next.
Alright, so I picked up Tekken Bloodline. Which is one of the Netflix anime type of things, which I'm actually going to rate as an acquired taste.
Fair. Nasuth hit the button.
I think Nasuth will have to hit the button on that one.
Oh, well, that's the wrong button. That's the right button. Now they're going over each other.
Now they're both. Now it's a garbled mess. This is what happens with bureaucracy. Just
absolutely.
2 stamps.
It's nothing taste.
It's
can I put it as
acquired special?
Taste? Because the show is actually surprising for being canonical.
Yeah.
So the previous the previous iterations in media like this have been the movies, and the maker of Tekken had no input and completely disowned those.
Right.
Because they made one and it didn't do well, and then they made another one and it did even worse.
Weren't those the CGI ones?
Yeah, well, I think
this is CGI. This is all
CGI.
CGI. Yeah. So this one is actually the makers of Tekken filling in the gap between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3. So if you actually like those games, it does explain things that people barely even know. Like, for example, here is Jin Kazuma, who is training under his grandfather, Heihachi. Heihachi is a very well-known character in the series, and so is Jin now. After the third game, but not a lot of people were aware of how they got to the third game from the second. There was a bit of lore saying that there'd been 19 years past, that Jin had now come to train under his grandfather and was set out to win the tournament. That there'd been no tournaments there at all, so it's a resurgence. But this one actually fills in, how they get there, how the training went, the creation of these people as new characters. So many of the characters are in 3 originate here, in a way. It's not perfect. There's a whole lot of stuff that you might not get if you are not aware of what Tekken is. But they don't actually, reference the game too much. It's mostly like, nudge and a wink, and here's a character that you might all like is referenced.
I've only ever played Tekken 3, and that was years ago. So I didn't pay that much attention to the storyline even then. So I'd probably be a little lost.
So what I am going to comment on is when I was looking at the shows to catch up on for coming on here, I scrolled down a bit too far and read one of the commenters that got voted up, and it's the weird triangle shading.
Yeah.
Every single time, they seem to love backlighting every character, even when it doesn't make sense. And so they've got perfectly good normal shading on them, but they have these they just look triangles, like drawn straight across them, or squares that come in from one side as a solid block, and it makes no sense.
Do we have any of those in the
really
screenshots?
weird shading.
We do. The weird thing is, okay, so first off, my question to you, Thaylien, is how do you feel about the weird geometric shape shading?
Well, again, I don't see the point in it. I found it actually quite distracting. The moment somebody mentioned it, I saw every single thing.
It's like when somebody mentions that
it was an eye catch every single time.
See, to me, I actually liked it because there are so many of these CG anime out there, like Baki the Grappler and things. You can see it here, Nasuth. Yeah, look at the hair. You can see the point, right?
That triangular shape.
See the big thing.
Everyone.
All these characters, right, are CG characters, right? Every single one of them, right? In the stills, they look like they're 2D hand-drawn animated.
Yeah,
right?
I've seen that become slowly becoming a trend. Like they bake the shadow in almost.
Kind of, right? So I personally like this because the alternative is actually having dynamic moving shadows. You can see it in what's the name of the series? It's another Netflix one. About this, it's another tournament show. I can't for love it. Begins with a K. I really just can't remember what it's called.
They even had it in Shikizakura, and it's just so unnerving.
It is.
What gets me about this one is not that it's there. Okay, it is weird, but the fact that it needs to be there. These shots should not be backlit.
That's
the one before.
Fair,
that was not a backlit shot. Why are they in shadow from lighting that's above and in front of them?
Well, here's a better point. Right now, right, you have two different layers of shading, right?
Yes.
You have the lighting at the top. You have the lighting you can see on Heihachi's hair, right? You have so you got the shading on his hair. You then had the shading under his chin, and then the shading on him, right?
Yeah.
So you had two
where
levels
is
of
the
shadows.
light coming from in this scene?
Above them.
Yeah.
But behind
them?
So
why are they backlit?
They're technically not backlit.
They are.
Because backlit you would actually have
look at this guy's stomach. If he was actually top lit, you would see some light there.
And look at that.
Okay, that's fair.
Yes, exactly. And here, the light's from us.
Right.
The light's coming in from this side from the screen side. Why are they backlit?
But I honestly, I'm by leagues, I prefer this.
I can see that. It's just distracting where it's wrong. That's what got me.
The really good ones change the baked-in shadow depending on the scene lighting, but they do have it baked in rather than
no.
dynamic.
I don't like that. I don't like it when the shadows change as the character. I'm
not talking about that. I'm talking about overall in the scene.
Right,
the lighting here, for example, in this scene, is all around him. He shouldn't. It's acting like those are the only two light sources in the room.
At best, you should have some light under his chin. That would be fine. That's pretty anime to begin with.
They could have taken this shadow off of him entirely and left him in normal shading, and it would have looked like he's in the scene more.
Potentially. But, I mean, I'm fine with it. But I totally get why people are not okay with it. But given the alternative, I much prefer this.
I'd take this.
I mean, actually, take it a step further. The method of CG I prefer is what David Production did with Spriggan. Because anything that was mechanical was CG. Anything that wasn't was hand-drawn. That was the best way of doing it.
When they actually did that in Shikizakura, the few times they did, it was so much better. The human characters being hand drawn and the suits being it worked so well.
Right, so let's
moving on. We can only rant so long about that. Let's move on.
Yeah. So let's move on to my next one, which I'm going to talk about. Vermeil and Gold.
The one that I dropped at like 3 episodes.
And the sad truth is, nothing special, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This has a lot of potential behind it, right? There is so many elements to this that I liked, but the animation isn't great in places. It feels quite fan servicey. The actual exploration of the back. So one point that they do is an exploration of the familiar character, the demon, right? Vermeil, and I liked that. Like you don't really ever see that, even with shows like Zero no Sakaima or The Familiar of Zero. You know, you just don't see that sort of thing. So actually having sort of like an explanation to the motives of her character was actually really, really nice. The problem is that, you know, you'd end up watching an episode and you're like, is that it?
The entire budget went to her boob jiggle.
Well, I mean, it's a really interesting...
Okay, question. Do her ears wiggle?
Not that I recall.
Do they go up and down as she's like...
They twitch if she's...
Not that I recall. But the thing is, a lot of the time, she actually disguises herself.
Yeah.
She disguises herself as human, so she hides her horns, she hides her ears and things, like, and her tail and stuff. I mean, like, it's weird how... Oh, God. You can tell this is rife with fan service, because... So she needs to blend in. So what you know those, oh god, what was I can't ever remember what they're called, but there was this one period where like models and girls were on social media wearing these provocative like jumper things that had no backs to them whatsoever.
Oh, the Virgin Killer sweater.
Is that what they were called?
Yeah.
Right. She wears that.
I don't know about
this. That's what she's wearing right now, right? And it's just like, it leaves very little to the imagination. And then she had to wear a school uniform, but no school uniforms would fit her, so she had a giant fuck-off boob window. And it's just like, is it really that hard to find a shirt to fit?
As a quick point to Nasuth.
They're all magicians. They can magic one up.
I know!
As a quick point to Nasuth, these clothing is always designed to show off other clothing, but somebody immediately says, "Oh, well, what if you only wore that?" That's why it becomes a trend.
Yeah.
So
I'm still glad I don't know about it.
Well, you do now.
Yeah, it's supposed to be quite fashionable. Look, that's again, you can see the appeal of that particular outfit.
Sure, yeah.
There are a lot of cool plot elements in this, but the problem is that it's just spaced out too sparsely. And then it comes to the end of it, and it feels like it's rushing it a bit too much. So it's like, I kind of wish that they'd paced it out a bit better, so that everything that was bundled up at the very end felt like it had proper time and pacing and things. I mean, but like this and when I was last talking about
Black Summoner,
right? They just had like these really and Harem in the Labyrinth. Like the last half of the last episode, it just feels like, what the fuck was the point in this? You're putting a weird epilogue at the last half of the episode. Why? I don't understand.
What was the name of the show where the hero was working for the demon army last season?
What? I quit hearing. Yeah.
Yes, didn't that have kind of the same thing in the last episode?
Oh god, yes. Yes. Like, we resolved it within the first 2 minutes of the last episode, and now you just got pointless filler.
Yeah.
So again, really interesting premise, but not properly explored or executed. I don't know if you have any questions.
No. I mean that just seems to be, in a nutshell.
Hey, kid, are you horny? Watch the show.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, let's move on.
Ear wiggles.
Nasuth.
Right.
Ready?
So it's time to do to get into the Netflix animes with Bastard.
Bastard.
I didn't take any notes for this one at all. I didn't realize. Well, when I watched it, I didn't actually realize it was in this season. It was only afterwards. I was like, "Wait, what?"
Oh,
yeah. I just picked an anime that was on and binged through it. But I would love to give this one a must watch because it is. I mean, you look at this and you're like,
it's fun.
You fucking press must watch, and I am gonna have words with you after this.
No, you look at this and you think, yeah, that looks terrible, and it is, but it's terrible in all the best ways. But I'm gonna have to give it a must. It really is.
Acquired taste.
Really not.
I'm gonna give it an acquired taste. It is so funny. The fact that this guy keeps like he all he can do is win. There's no way he's ever gonna lose, which normally would take all the tension out, and it does. There's no real tension there, but it's how he wins and the glorious bloody revelry in it all. And
what content warnings does this have?
It should probably have like violence.
More.
Yeah. Okay, I came up with a thing while thinking about this earlier, about how we would describe this, and it's we've had toxic masculinity as a thing, right? This is comedic masculinity.
No, I can sum this up, right? Okay,
comedic masculinity. That's what it is.
Right. Here's how you describe the series. It fails the Bechdel test.
But at the same time, it's like these women do like get their jabs in against him and stuff. It's not.
No, but it's all about him. That's all it is. They never talk about the weather. They never talk about ruling the kingdom. It's just him. That's all they fucking talk about. It's just like, for the love of God.
I might be willing to adjust mine to comedic chauvinism.
Yeah.
But like, it's all done very tongue in cheek. It's not like they're not serious about it at all.
I'm sorry. Right, I've got to jump in here. Right.
Oh, okay.
Like,
all right.
Episode 6, which is when I just couldn't anymore. Right, because we did the last episode with Lou and Yi about like the different perspectives of men and women, and just I cannot understand how Lou enjoyed this. Right,
I can.
Each
it's completely poking fun at all these tropes.
Right.
It's not being serious
I'm
about
sorry.
them in the
Right.
least.
Hold on. Right. Okay. So basically, in episode 6, this evil wizard general, this woman, right? Mm-hmm. She tries to kill Dark Schneider, right? But fails to because he cast an illusion spell before she did, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, fine. I don't care about the Kirito methodology of this. Like, he has reason because he is being hunted down and pursued, and there were hints that she was a bad guy, right? But what happens afterwards? The fact that he takes her to bed, right?
Because that's what they do in like 80s and 90s fantasy action movies.
Right, here's the big here's the tongue-in-cheek element of it, right? The little pet sidekick dragon, the Scooby-Doo dragon, turns around and goes, "This is a shonen manga, right? This shouldn't be happening," right? To segue away from the actual events, and it's just like, did that just happen?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of Deadpool moments in this. Yeah, there's a lot of Deadpool moments.
No, not the Deadpool moment. The fact that why the Deadpool moment happened to segue away from the naughtiness that Dark Schneider was doing.
I think this is kind of a Marmite thing. You either find it funny or you absolutely hate it.
Yeah, that's why I put it on an acquired taste.
It really is. This is the epitome of an acquired taste. You either laugh along with it or you hate it for everything it stands for.
It's like watching an episode of MST3K, but it's in the show itself. Like the show is poking fun at itself while doing all this stuff. It's so good.
I just feel that the satire is just not thick enough. It's not strong enough.
I'm specifically thinking of the oh god, what is it called? Heroes of Gore or something, which is a really there's a whole history behind Gore that's crazy, and then they made a movie about it, and it's so bad, so bad.
Right.
Anyway,
next one. Okay.
Can't even ask questions. It's just something that you can only see to form your opinion on.
You either give in to the craziness or you perish.
Right. Thaylien.
So that would be me, and I'm gonna go with one that I think Xeno's watched a bit of as well, which is My Isekai Life. I gained a second character class and became the strongest sage in the world.
Yeah.
Now, this one is basically a standard isekai. A man who had a horrible job, was depressed on life, goes into the world.
Rating?
But it's just a classic one, so I'm going to put this at an acquired taste.
Okay.
Now,
really?
This had no weird gimmicks to it. Okay, there is no harem. There is no smartphone. There is no. It is just literally. I went to another world. I gained these skills. I went on an adventure, and I came out of it a better person than I went in.
I'm sorry. I completely zoned out because it sounded so generic.
I know it sounds.
Where am I? What year is it?
That's the thing. I found that I enjoyed this more for not trying to do the tropes. So we have been oversaturated with a lot of isekai over time. We have oversaturated, and this guy is just a standard, powerful character with a bit of a twist on it that
does he open a shop?
Wasn't supposed to be. No, he doesn't open a shop. Okay, they don't even really go in. They don't go into his life.
Did he own a gazebo?
Really. They don't even. So there's. He doesn't even pick up side characters for the most part.
Wow.
Really?
So those people you see in the thing aren't his companions.
They're just episodic characters.
They were there for like 2 episodes, and and then referenced back to again for the thing. The idea is that he went to different villages and saved them, and those people still exist, and so he is still aware of them as he moves on his adventure, and make sure he checks back in to protect them occasionally. But they get stronger for having been around him, and they get they become better people, and he moves on. So there is one consistent character.
Oh my god, it's Highway to Heaven, or the Incredible Hulk from the 80s.
Possibly, there's one consistent character that goes with him besides his little minions. He has minions who are slimes and a wolf, but he also meets a dryad girl in the first episode. And she helps out for some of it. But after the first couple of episodes, when he moves away from the area that is her forest, he calls on her to get confirmation on things he suspects, magic items. She calls him back for an episode to come help her out. But other than that, she's not a romantic interest. She's just there. She's another resource in his adventure, which is, I actually like the honesty of it. It's just, I'm going to be an overpowered protagonist who goes on an adventure. I'm not here to have a harem. I'm not here to make loads of money. The most driving force you see from him is he realizes he hasn't eaten properly since he left one of the villages, and so he decides to go to another village specifically because they've apparently got really good food. And that's I'm
wondering if this would be, out of all the isekai this season, this would be the top one. Because
maybe because again, it's the simplicity that does it. It's completely honest about what it is. There is no weird hook. There's no there's no lowly
convoluted
300-year-old character. There's no I'm going to just have these people stick around to be my hype team.
Is there an overarching plot? Is there an overarching destination?
Yes.
Okay.
Under the hood, there is a cult called the Church of the Blue Moon.
Right.
We're trying to resurrect the Demon Lord.
Not quite. They're actually trying to resurrect the hero.
Oh!
Okay.
Yeah, so they're trying to resurrect a sage from 1,000 years ago.
All right.
And that is his second class. This guy is his second class. He was a tamer, a beast tamer, as his first class. He gains the sage class. Quite by accident. That's what makes him powerful. And so this cult is trying to resurrect the sage, and they've got plans within plans within plans to do so. And the idea is that eventually they are, in fact, I'm going to stick on spoilers for just a few seconds.
Okay.
Ta-da.
They do, in fact, succeed.
Right.
So the only thing that really can stop him as a sage is another sage. So it's building up to this fight with another sage.
Right.
But a sage that's been summoned back from the dead, and so is actually really, really powerful.
But is he a good sage, or if he's a hero, surely he's a good sage. Why would he want to kill the
ultimate plot of the cult is that this original sage, this 1,000-year-old sage, wanted to save the world by breaking its cycle of, a sage rises, fights dragons, and then is killed off. Fights dragons, killed off by something. One of those
heroes that ends up doing villainous things because
he wants to wipe the world clean and start again clean, with it being better. And so it's the opposite way of he becomes a villain from a hero. But
it's a little cliche, but I mean,
only because of the summoning.
It works sometimes, especially if the rest of the show is geared towards that sort of, like you said, just lays it out there and doesn't really mess around. That's fine.
So
it's just straightforward.
I have one question.
Should we stay in spoilers?
Let's take it out of spoilers, because I want people to have the opportunity to hear this. So I have one question. The first episode I watched just pretty much got straight into it. I only watched the first episode. I know Loz watched a few more. At any point, is there a needlessly long flashback to how he got to the world, or how he got his powers, or anything like that?
All flashbacks that do explain what he was before, how he got his powers, are maybe 3 minutes long.
Okay, but how many of them are there?
No,
that's fine.
Literally, when it pops up, when the thing pops up, so how he met the giant girl was actually the first one. How he knew who he was before. And they're just done as, literally, like the bare minimum you need to know to actually find it and to think about that happened.
Right. Let's move on. And we're going to do Harem in the Labyrinth of Another World.
Oh, good.
Right.
Yes, tell us all about this harem that eventually developed.
Okay. Right. You cannot call the show a harem if by the end of the show you don't have 3 or more female characters of the opposite gender.
So 2 doesn't count. Okay, all right.
To me, 2 does not count.
That's
right?
more of a love triangle. You're right. Yeah, that's true. We did find out that 2.5 counts. Yeah.
Right. But I personally, it needs to be 3 or more. Right. Personally,
yes.
That's my minimum stipulation here. Right. There are so many cool, unique things about this. The whole... Oh, sorry. Yes, I need to... nothing special. Sorry.
Nothing special.
I saw Nasuth just swirling around the actual... What grade am I giving it? And I completely forgot. I pulled a Thaylien. Sorry, Thaylien.
I was about to bug you. It's fine.
But so the world setting is really cool, right? The combat... The exploration, the magic, how it all works, these ID cards, the realism that this main character takes. Like, he is super serious about not taking needless risks. You see characters in isekais that just do absolutely insane things, right? And you're like, if this was a real life scenario, there was no way in hell you would do something so stupid.
So stupid, yeah.
The risk is way too high. The risk is like real, right? And we're not going to turn them on. You're not going to turn on spoilers, but you see the ramifications of what happens when a person dies in the labyrinth, right? And it really hits home. You know, it's like it's a bit of a deconstruction of the Isekai trope, but in a sense that in Mahou Shoujo Madoka Magica,
your favorite anime in the world.
There was a deconstruction of the real life situation that these girls are getting themselves into. They think they're unstoppable, but they're really fucking not. This character, he's really sensible on how he doesn't just jump in, no holes barred, and getting himself and others effectively killed. So it's really cool in that regard.
Yeah, when you said about he doesn't do things that where other Isekai characters would just go whole hog. Do you know what that made me think of? It actually made me think of Itadori Yuji from Jujutsu Kaisen. The boy punched concrete and had no idea he'd break through it. He just punched it because that was what he had to do at the time.
Yeah.
But that's what makes a hero. They dare to do.
Yeah. So he had no reason. He'd never been able to do that before. Yeah. Why would he think that he could have done it?
Yeah.
But he did it. And but this guy, from the bit I've seen of it, I didn't catch up the whole thing, but he actually did the sensible way.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah. And it's quite interesting how you hear his logic, because obviously he's not from this world setting. He doesn't understand how things work and things. So he's teasing people, teasing information out of them to find out, why is this important? Why is it important to know this? Things like only dwarves can be blacksmiths. They're the only ones that can actually get the job of blacksmith, and they're the only ones that can do blacksmithing. So it's really, really interesting how they do that. The fucking
So the last, it also quite honest in the sense of third episode in, he manages to get hold of the girl he's been after. Fourth episode, he does
he smushes. There's lots of smushing.
Every single person who thinks they're going to be in an isekai would do that.
This
he just goes ahead and does.
They spend too much time on the smushing. There's so much smushing in this series, and it personally detracts from it because, okay, I get it once, maybe twice, right? But
3 times a lady.
Oh, God. And the sad thing is, when they finally get another character into the harem, this isn't until episode 11. Episode fucking 11.
They get a second companion for him by episode 11.
There's only 2 episodes left, and they have a second companion. But the interactions between our main protagonist, the first companion, and the second companion are brilliant. If they had that from episode 3 or 4 onwards, it would have been brilliant, right? Because there was so many comedic elements. Right? The fact that one of my favorite parts is the master is serving food. The main protagonist, who is the master, is serving food to his companions, and he's giving it. He was about to give it to the second companion, who prepared the food, but he saw the death stare from the first companion and handed it to her instead. That was funny. That was enjoyable, right? But why is it in episode fucking 12?
Yep, I'll go with that. That's the same as the Maid I had. That one again. Why are these characters held off for so long? They are so much better when they work together.
Yeah.
So I can relate to that one.
The smushing. There's so much smushing. right? So much.
He's an honest protagonist. That scene we're looking at right there is him looking down the red light district and being told, "Don't go down there; it's not worth it."
Yeah. So like,
he honestly says, "Well, maybe I should."
I will say, right? Given this is from the studio that made interspecies reviewers, right? This is tame by comparison.
It's tame by comparison,
but still, anyway.
Honest.
Anyway, like, okay, so Loz and I had a nickname for their house. So they buy a house in a village and things. We nicknamed it the Fuck Palace.
Well, would it not be?
Anyway, Nasuth, I think you might be muted.
Oh no! Oh.
I wondered about that.
Right. It's a love shack. It's a little old place where they can get together. You see?
Nah, fuck palace. Trust me, it's a fuck shack, palace. Trust me, it's a fuck palace. Anyway, let's move on.
Which one have you going for, Nasuth?
Oh, Drifting Home. We're doing Drifting Home first.
Oh, you watched that only recently?
I did. I just watched that today, literally before the show, and it is getting a must watch because it is almost Spielbergian.
Really?
In its storytelling.
Really now?
Yes. But with that anime pop and flair and so essentially these kids used to live in a neighborhood, an apartment building neighborhood. There were several buildings there, together, but each one had, lots of apartments in them. Typical. And
high-rise.
No, it's
five,
like
6
more
floors.
More council flats.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah. And you'll probably see it in some of these pictures. But
yeah, like this.
you can't see the entire thing, but yeah, essentially. So they all leave this neighborhood. Everyone moves away. The neighborhood ends up in disrepair, and it's finally going to get torn down. And so for various reasons, they all end up going back there and find out that one of their friends is like hiding in one of the closets because that's where she goes to
nap.
Feel well. She and the main boy character used to live together because like her parents were in a weird like abusive relationship and so they got her away from that by moving her in with him and his grandpa. And so she goes there all the time to have memories of the grandfather because he's unfortunately dead now.
Not her grandfather.
Not her grandfather, his grandfather. Yes. And she felt kind of responsible for that in a weird way. I don't want to get too deep into that, but that drove like a wedge between them as friends. And so this is like the first time that they've really interacted with each other. And just as they do, she like falls off the edge of the building. And because there's like an argument that breaks out between her and one of the other girls, and she nearly gets knocked off she does get knocked off the edge and falls. And when she falls, like a bunch of rain suddenly just pours down. And when it clears, their building is just in the middle of an expanse of water, an ocean, and she's in the water safe and sound. So they get her out. And it sort of becomes about them trying to survive, them dealing with their interpersonal issues, but where it really starts to pick up is that they meet this other character who just appeared there, and you find out it kind of starts to get into the idea that places, because of the people that live in them, because of the memories that they create and the activities that they do, these places end up getting like a soul, like a memory, like a being. And so that's who they end up finding, and it gets into this whole issue of, can you let go of the past? Is it okay to let go of the past, but still hold it inside? Like, if the building is gone, if the physical building is gone, are the memories really gone, or can you carry them with you and keep that spirit alive? And it's so good. As somebody who still has dreams about one of the houses that I lived in for like years and years and years. I can relate to this a lot.
So, drifting home as in the home was actually drifting as opposed to
it is on the water,
them
drifting
all
around.
Returning home.
And there's hardships that they have to face. There's points where like the building starts to sink. They find other buildings and like go over there and weird stuff happens. Don't go into it looking for it to be realistic. It is very much magical, but the magic does see. I think the magic is internally consistent. So at least there's that.
Yeah, see, I absolutely hate movies that take the idea of magic and say, "Oh, teehee, it was all in their heads. That kids are so imaginative."
I kept expecting that to happen. I kept expecting them to come back to the real world, and she fell off and died, and the entire journey was just them trying to deal with that.
Yeah, trying to come to terms with it, but.
Yeah.
So this one doesn't do that. Actually,
No.
they went on a real magical adventure.
It is so good.
I've always been influenced by the Narnia thing. Because that was
It's
one of
very
the
much that.
things where they actually did, in fact, go to another world and they come back. And even though no time passed for our world, it really did happen in that internal fictional world.
It is very much along those lines. Extremely along those lines.
Did you ever watch the movie? Oh god, was it Continuity?
No, I don't think I ever did. No.
Not familiar to me.
Oh god, I think it had. Was it Jodie Foster in it? Basically, it was a case of I can't remember what was it the SETI satellites or something like that, where they have the giant satellites that are exploring space and things. They received a data package.
Not the Arecibo, but yeah, I know it's like an array. Yeah.
Oh god, I was gonna try and look it up, but yeah, I can't do two things at once. So they received the data packet, and it basically talks about building a machine that allows them to travel.
What is that called? It's not continuity.
You sure?
Shoot. And they build the giant swirling, it's got all the. Yeah,
and they drop a thing through
Contact! It's Contact!
Yes, sorry, yes, it is Contact, yes.
Yes.
So, they do this, and she experiences, hours and hours of traveling through, space and time and all sorts of weird and wonderful shit. And then basically, at the other end of it, they turn around and it's none of that happened. You just fell straight through and nothing happened. No, you didn't go anywhere, you just fell straight through.
It just didn't work, yeah.
And I love that, they were calling her out on it, right? They were saying oh, you're full of shit. You don't know what you're talking about, blah, blah, blah. And she turned around. So, no, one of the query board turned around to one of, the ground control and said to her, if it didn't happen, all right, why is there 8 hours of static on the...
In the recording, yes.
Yes, because as soon as she went through, it was just static in the recording. But it's
but
why
it's
is there
recorded.
8 hours of it? Yes, why is there 8 hours of it instead of just a minute?
Yeah,
that movie is so. That's very good movie.
So you definitely recommend Drifting Home?
100%. It's a good family film. It's a good. I mean, even if you're an adult, you'll still be able to appreciate the themes and. The danger that these kids get in, and it's really good. It's so good.
Right,
really well paced too. Really, really well paced.
So that would be me next if I'm going on to this, which is RWBY Ice Queendom. And as much as I'd like to give it otherwise, I'm going to give it a nothing special.
Ooh,
I am a big fan of the RWBY universe. I still go back and watch the red trailer and show that to other people as an example of how to do a proper teaser for a show, because they did on the original truly hit that magical little combination of having a great musician, a great singer, a great animator, and a great theme overall. But then with the original series, there was always that trouble of Monty Owen would design a fight sequence, and the Rooster Teeth team would have to make a plot to go in and feed into these things. And then when they lost Monty, they only had their plot. They didn't have the same kind of energy and drive in the animation side of things, and it lost that quality. So I was really looking forward to seeing this anime. I wanted to see somebody who had decent consistency to their styles push something through, And I was almost given that. Almost. So they inserted this whole extra storyline into this opening thing. The story of RWBY is that in a world where humans are not the apex predators, as it were, there are humans, there are faunas who have animal ears or tails, and they are pit against the Grimm, who are dark creatures that are formed from some primordial shadow that, if you don't kill them, just get stronger and stronger and stronger over time. And so the 4 cities that are surviving in this world train huntsmen and huntresses to go out and kill Grimm. Our story revolves around the 4 key elements: Ruby Rose, Wai Shni, Blake Belladonna, and Yang Xiaolong. Ruby and Yang are in fact sisters. The whole thing is they all get accepted to Beacon Academy for Huntresses and are trying to learn to fight Grimm. And in the original series, it did actually, to be fair, pit them up against Grimm, send them out on missions. And in this one, it diverted the plot into this whole internal mindscape thing. A Grimm got hold of them and created nightmares. They introduce a whole new character who can actually allow people to go into another person's dream, Inception style, to fight off the Grimm. Now, I don't know why they did this, and for what it's worth, it actually wasn't too bad of a diversion from the plot. It did go on way too long. But you did get to see a lot of action, you did get to see a lot of fantastic fight scenes, choreography, and it was very good for the character development. A lot of character development happened, especially to the sub-characters, like Jean, who is... he cheated his way in and doesn't have any skills, but we've got this great interaction between him and his teammates as well. But the things they changed weren't always consistent. Early on, there's a very, very good fight scene in the original show where one of the sub-characters gets introduced, Sun Wukong, and another one, Penny. They get introduced, and there is a fight scene where they square off against the White Fang and Roman Torchwick, who is one of the villains. And there's a whole fantastic plot-driving interaction going on there to show who these characters are, to introduce them properly into the show. And they just skip it in this anime.
Yeah.
But then at the end, much like you worried about with the other show that had half an episode of filler at the end of the show, they go to the trouble of recreating for half of the last episode, the food fight from the original RWBY show.
Right.
Which is like it's like the epilogue bit where they're about to start their new year and move the plot on, but they divert for 10-15 minutes into a food fight, which was fun in the original show because it was one of those throwaway bits just to make people laugh. But in this, it just is a massive tone shift from what they did before. So it ends up kind of a sour note at the end of things, which puts me down to nothing special.
So I did enjoy this for what I watched. I watched 7 of the episodes. I didn't get back to it, but everything you said, like the animation was fantastic. The music was brilliant. The
choreography,
was again fantastic still. But the divergent plot went on for far too long. I don't even know how many more episodes it goes on for. I know it's not done by episode 7.
Episode 11.
Oh, dear God, are you kidding?
Yep.
They spend
episode 11 out of 12.
It doesn't start until I think like episode 3, maybe 4.
Yep. So they spend 7 episodes going into this.
Jeez, that's mental. Like it does. It's okay. I may finish it, but I don't know. I don't know if it's worth finishing.
Yeah, it does actually go way more into development of the characters than it did in the first show.
Fair.
But then the sub-characters just get completely left out because of it.
Yeah. No, I totally get what you're talking about, because I was like, this feels weird. It's like these characters just feel like they've just come out of nowhere. But
like Penny.
anyway.
Penny had a fantastic introduction in the show. They showed off an awful lot of why she should be important later on, and
they just skipped it.
Gave us a full explanation. By skipping out the scene they did, you have to have watched the original RWBY to realise what you've lost.
Yeah. Right, should we move on?
Yes, please.
Yep, sounds good.
Cool. So, moving on to my next one, which I don't know how this title is supposed to be pronounced. I don't know if it's Lycoris Recoil or Lycoris Recoil or what. But regardless, I'm giving this an acquired taste. I would give it a must-watch, but I think there's not enough there to be a must-watch. I really enjoyed this series. This was one of the shows that I would go out my way to watch. One of the few shows this season I would go out my way to watch. The charm that our main protagonist girl, Chisato, has is just... She's just so charismatic. I don't know what it is, but she is just so funny, right? And it's just such an interesting series. If you haven't seen it, seriously, check it out. It's got a bit of like, I think the term is like girls' love. It's like, you know, basically where it's not Yuri. It's where two female characters bond through like friendship and work and things like that. It's a brilliant
It's real
setting.
close to it, but not quite. Yeah.
But, well, it's more...
It's Yuri, but not Yuri romance.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, so it's the... God, it's just so funny. It's just... The character interactions are brilliant. The diversity of the characters are great. The... what you call it? The tricks, the lies, the espionage. It's just such a good series. It's one that's really slid underneath the radar. I've seen, I think Mother's Basement referred to this as like a John Wick but anime. And again, the animation is fantastic. The choreography is brilliant. The use of guns is fantastic. Like, you know, they don't just what you call, I'm just gonna put my gun and not receive any recoil. Right, it's fantastic. Like the fact that our main character refuses to kill anyone, right? So she has these special bullets created that cost a fortune. That so she runs a business. She's part of this special espionage agency, but she's detached, right? So she doesn't actually run inside. Effectively, James Bond does not work inside MI6. He works in his coffee shop down the road, right? And because he has issues with how they operate, right? So he will still do missions for them, but by his rules. So he won't kill anyone, right? He won't, you know, and just Chisato is just brilliant. She's such a lovable character. So yeah, I really wholeheartedly recommend this one. It's not going to be for everyone, but I'm saving my must-watch for my next one. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any questions.
I do actually really want to watch this one just from the description I read at the start of this, but I didn't, like, I had so many on my plate already.
Yeah, you were crazy with your quantity.
Not as crazy as I have been in the past, but yes.
I did check up on the pronunciation. It's licorice.
It is licorice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Based on how the Japanese are saying it. Because, of course, you know, the particular way they pronounce vowels.
Yeah, it's like licorice, you know, so just like, you know, but yeah.
Which is
so
funny enough how you're supposed to say it, because licorice is just is actually some strange devolution of it.
My also understanding is that this is the name of the death flower, you know, the iconic one, the red one that you see in like the intro or the outro of
so many different animes, and you know that someone's going to die in it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that's also the name of that flower. That's what I read somewhere. I could be wrong, but anyway. Right. Unless you guys have any questions.
No. To watch.
Right. Let's move on to the next one.
Maid in Abyss. I put the rating down as "What the fuck?" with the explanation of "What the fuck?" But it is if you have watched any Maid in Abyss as of yet, then this is a must watch. It is. It's quick notes. What the fuck?
I'm looking at your notes. He's just what the fuck.
So I will say the one downside it really had was it was a bit wishy-washy towards the end. Like Reg especially was like, I'm gonna do this thing. I'm gonna kill this person. But I don't really want to do that. I'm gonna actually just gonna sort of like drag you away, and then I gotta do this. Another character might be, I gotta do this thing, and then they stop. They don't actually do it after all. And but overall, like the experience of this series was just brutal. The first half is honestly not too rough on you. It builds you up sort of slowly.
Are you for fucking real?
I know.
Pull that slowly.
I know. It escalates in the second half. Like it really escalates.
Just for clarity, Loz and myself have not finished this. We wanted to, but there were restrictions that prevented us from watching it. Mostly, Nad's just a dick and he keeps on streaming on Wednesdays. So
on Twitch TV, Nasuth. But I'm gonna try not to spoil it as much as I can because again, you guys are watching it. But you find out like they're in this city. Quote unquote city in this current layer that they're in the abyss on, and in many ways the city is completely protected. There's no force field inside of it, so you can go wherever you want without suffering the effects of the abyss.
Sorry, just for clarify, anyone that hasn't seen it, the force field is basically this special
invisible layering
system. It's like
it's like the old idea of aether, that it's just energy in the air. Yeah.
And if you permeate it, as you ascend, if you go through it, right, it will fuck you up. Right?
It's like a one-way mirror sort of thing. You can go down, but the moment you try to go up, it's like no.
And there are some people that from the first season who can actually physically see, right? They could perceive this ether, this force field, so they can navigate you through it safely. But most humans cannot see it at all. Yeah. That's the important part.
And it's completely absent in this village. This village is a haven. All the monsters and nasty things outside can't even penetrate inside of it. Like they just, and if they do, it's because the villagers brought them in order to have the city devour them and gain more value. And the idea of value comes up a lot in this. But I think it doesn't actually mean. It's not a currency. Even like they're restoring value to the city. Yeah. They're restoring value to the city, but it's almost like they're giving energy to the city. Like they're keeping it alive through this. Because it is a living city.
It's super weird because like value is perceived by the person that has it. So, and I think the person that wants it. So someone might want, like, I don't know, your toenails. You might not perceive that they have any value at all. But the recipient might perceive that they have fuck tons of value. So that might get converted into some form of currency that you can spend at a later time. It's super weird. It is super hard. I may actually say people should wait until the English dub is out, just
Possibly,
so it's easier to follow what the fuck is going on. I know you, myself, and Lars had to collaborate to work out what the fuck was going on and what we did watch.
It gets more clear by the end, but speaking of the end, so the entire, without going again, trying not to go into too much spoilers, there is a relationship between this creature named Faputa and the village, the town, or the city, whatever you want to call it. And the entire point of the series is to try and get Faputa into the city so that she can do the thing that she was born to do.
Yeah.
And it happens. It does happen, and the repercussions are amazing. But it also has this theme of wanting to still push on, to go forward, to create your own value. You give the value to yourself that others were defining for you before. So you don't worry about what they say. You worry about what makes you valuable. It's so rough though. The ending, the in Kanpai News, we actually talk. Well, we will talk because we haven't recorded it quite yet, but people will have seen it. The voice actress for Faputa actually lost her voice during production because it was that character is so emotional and so raw that oh man.
The show is designed to make you cry.
Yeah. Very much
and
so.
Feels.
Okay, so we're going to move on to my last one before
Your
we
last
do
one.
Naz's last one, and then the group last one. Yeah, the last one. That's right. So, my last one, which I'm not going to spend too long on, is season 4 of Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon? This is a must-watch, right? I think everyone can get behind.
Especially if you've been watching the earlier parts of the series.
Yeah.
No, I think if you haven't seen Is It Wrong to Try and Pick Up Girls in a Dungeon, you should go fucking start it.
You should, just for this
What
season?
is wrong with you? Well, no. Seriously, like it is such an easy to enjoy fantasy anime.
It really is.
That I don't think like. The problem is the name is super suggestive, but the name is like so wrong.
Misleading. It's so misleading.
Right? It is so misleading. It's like, is it wrong to try and pick up? It feels like this was originally named a starting adventurer's guide to the Dungeon of Super Doom and Death.
Being a hero,
right?
To being a hero,
right? To being a hero, right? Whereas the editor turned around and was like, nah, that doesn't sound sexy enough. Is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon?
Yeah.
Honestly,
She's got big boobs, so we gotta have.
No. It's because, as far as I can see, somebody's misinterpreted it at the editing stage because the main character's reason for all of this is to basically be as strong as and help this one girl.
Yes, but not for romantic reasons. At least not
for
at
romantic
first.
reasons.
Yeah.
No. Well, there is admiration there quite a bit.
Admiration, but not romance.
Yeah, and so one of his abilities is that he gets better gains.
Yeah.
As long as he stays fixated upon his goals.
Yeah.
And considering his goal is this girl, in one way or another, that could be the thing. Is it wrong for that to, be my goal?
Well, it's a brilliant, fantastic series.
Yes,
the
it really
fourth
is.
season doesn't hold back. It is like, have we watched all 3 seasons with you?
Yes, we have. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
I've just been waiting for the English dub for this one, essentially.
Yeah, it is a fantastic series. It is something that people should pick up. It really does get deeper and deeper in terms of the plot and the lore. The pacing is fantastic.
And the dungeon.
The characters are fantastic. The only thing I'll point out, right, for anyone that hasn't watched this, I think I've said this before, is in the town there is this huge ass tower, right? And they talk about going up in terms of the, like, oh, it's level 27, it's level 28. It's like, it sounds like they are ascending the tower, which is the dungeon. No, it's the complete opposite. The tower is built on top of the dungeon, and the dungeon is going down. This isn't level 27, this is level minus 27.
Yeah. So the tower itself is the Tower of the Gods.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's almost like the tower connects to heaven, and the dungeon connects to, well, the underworld rather than hell, but it's not really...
No, they don't know.
Yeah, it's not really bad down there. It was weird.
They just don't know. But it was like, it just appeared.
Yeah. So it is a dungeon. You have to go down, and you go down each level, and there's even things they bring in where you can actually jump into a hole to get down to a lower level without having to go through some boss rooms. Things like that.
So it's a fantastic series. It's a brilliant fantasy series. It's a series I don't know how many people are sleeping on, but if you haven't, I've watched 11 of the, I assume, 12 episodes of the season. The 12th episode hasn't yet aired.
But you have a hard time imagining it's gonna pull it down.
I mean, it could just completely flub it, right? But I really struggle to imagine it could flub it.
Yeah.
So
they've managed to stick the landing 3 times in a row now. So
yes, I have faith that they'll do it. The character development's brilliant. The returning characters, the 2 characters, so the girl with her back of the head to us, and the one with her eyes closed, they are from season 1. They are returning characters. And again, it's just like, we got other returning characters as well from season 1. It's brilliant. It's a really, really well done series, and I'm so happy with how this season's turned out.
It actually has a semi-decent movie to go with it.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I don't think we watched. No, did we watch that?
No, we did. We did watch it.
We did watch that. Yeah.
It's non-canonical.
Yeah.
But I just hope that it just continues. It just keeps going. That's all I really hope for.
The only really bad arc that was in there, I thought, was when they were dealing with the monster girl, and like, without giving anything away, it's like, you could just do this one thing and all your problems would be solved, and they just refuse to do it. It's like, what? Why? Stop it!
I don't know. I still enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, it's still enjoyable, but it's like, why are you doing that?
Right, let's move on to Nasuth's last one.
Which is it started in spring this year, yes. and has gone on. Do you want me to? You got it. You probably got it.
I don't know. Which image is it?
Oh,
that one. I got it.
He got it. So, Summertime Rendering. This is 100% a must-watch. We weren't... So, if we were going to record last week, episode 25 wouldn't have been out. I still would have given it a must-watch because it is... the 25th episode is actually a denouement. So, it's like the entire episode is... What? It's after the climax. It's after the climax. It's like wrapping up the story.
Oh, the epilogue.
Kinda, but it's not really an epilogue. It's anyway. It's the come down after the rising action.
Yeah, the epilogue.
Okay. Fair enough. It is 25 episodes, so I guess you could consider it that way. Anyway, it is at its core a time travel story where this guy keeps reliving the same time over and over again, but that period gets shorter and shorter as you go on. So you've got this ticking clock element still. And so the first half of the season is essentially them figuring out what the threat on the island is, what these shadows are, what the shadow sickness is. And the second half is all about how they can actually...
Boobs.
Yes, boobs. How they can actually solve that problem. But the thing is that it's not just him eventually. The antagonist also gains the ability... Like, she... In one of the loops, he encounters her on his way out, so to speak, after he dies. Because the only way to trigger the loop is for him to die. And she sees him, and so from that point on, she's looking for him actively. And because they both share a similar power, he has one of her eyes, essentially. and the eye grants them both the ability to see the different time loops and to understand them. So she starts tracking him with this information, and it becomes a race between the two of them to try and...
Okay, I'm going to stop you.
Okay,
right?
all right.
Only because you're trying not to spoil anything.
I am really hard trying not to spoil.
And it's getting really confusing. Point is, there's time travel shenanigans, there's a protagonist and an antagonist, and you're saying you must watch it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I like the way that each side keeps escalating, but it's all like intelligently done. Like it never feels like they pull something out of their ass. It's all set up beforehand.
Right. So this sounds similar to ReZero. This sounds similar
I've never watched ReZero, but sure.
Steins Gate.
Steins Gate a little bit, yeah.
So what is there any particular element about the whole time loop shenanigans that is particularly appealing in this?
It's the fact that they carry knowledge between, well, some of them do carry knowledge between it, and so they can change their actions depending on that knowledge. But once it starts getting to be both of them, then the actions become more unpredictable, the loops become more erratic, and they have to think a lot smarter.
Right.
I also like the fact that it's a slowly decreasing amount of time.
Right.
That's the bit that caught my eyes. The fact that he's obviously not reliving the entirety of that time. So actions again are having more and more consequence. That he's having a shorter and shorter time. I like that concept.
I mean, the other thing I want to highlight to everyone and warn everyone is that this is, even though it's not on the screen right now, this is currently in Disney jail.
Yeah.
So good luck finding it.
Much like the Nier Automata anime.
What? It will be.
What? No, what?
I just said that to torment Xeno. Don't worry.
Nah. It's also, but it is. There is a lot of violence in this, because again, like I said, the main character's way of traveling is to die, and sometimes he has to do that himself, and it's not pretty in that regard. But oh man,
okay,
just the level of intelligence that went into crafting these loops and putting all the pieces in place is so good.
Okay, so we've had the ramblings from.
Is it time for gushing?
It is time for gushing.
I think this may actually be better than Edgerunners, but
fuck you.
I know.
But I think it's going to be, if it is,
it's going to be close. It's close.
Cyberpunk Edgerunners is my anime of the season. Is possibly my anime of the year, because it takes, as a must-watch, it takes story elements that have existed before and hits so hard with them because of the universe it's in, because of the world that's already been built.
Mm-hmm.
Cyberpunk as a world is a place where you're not remembered by how you live, it's by how you die. Every story in this universe is a tragedy, but out of tragedy you can build triumph. You can build a legacy, you can build something better. And that is what makes this so good, because it's more than just the basic Shakespearean style of everyone ends up dead on stage. No, this is one where people can win, but at cost. And actually, let's take a little step back. This is the animation studio is Trigger. Trigger are responsible for an awful lot of shows, but they always have this thing of they keep going, escalating bigger and bigger until they shoot themselves into space. Every show,
I mean, they're the remnants of Gainax, so space. They've got that pedigree.
Yes, exactly. It's like we saw it with when they worked on Gurren Lagann. They did that. Then when they worked on Kill la Kill, went to space. We saw them pop up an episode for Star Wars Visions, and
cutting
they went into space,
Star Destroyer in half. I mean,
the lights. Yes,
I mean,
yeah.
So
So this is because they did technically go to space in this, but the main plot had to be compartmentalized into Night City, and they've done that so well. This has limited them, and in that box, they've created something beautiful. The basic plot for anybody that's actually... Sorry, Isina, what were you going to say?
So it's really interesting because there's actually on Netflix's YouTube, there's an interview between Joey, the anime man, and I think it's the executive producer at Trigger, and they were talking about like different things. Apparently, originally CD Projekt Red actually provided the script for what they wanted the story to be, and Trigger turned around and modified it, right? It's also really interesting how much, because this is set 1 year before the events of Cyberpunk 2077, the game, right?
For reference, they actually have done a recent update of Cyberpunk where things from the show have been added into the game to make it more canonical.
Yeah, I heard about that.
I have yet to find those, but still, I love the characters. I love the interactions between everyone. I love how sort of factually accurate it is with, because you can't... So one of the big MacGuffin that our main protagonist, David, gets his hands on is called a Sandevistan, right? Which actually exists in the game. You can actually get your hands on it in the game. You get various different versions of it in the game. And it's really interesting, like, the calls on, like, in their heads that they have. Again, very symbolic to how it happens in the game. It's so much. It's just so well put together.
If you've played the game, everything's a nod to it. Every single location, you're looking at that scene right there. You can fight in that arena in the game.
I have no idea what that is.
But see, that's
the
exactly
animals
why...
thing where you fight against that massive woman.
Right.
That's exactly why I can't give it Anime of the Year, is because I feel like I haven't played Cyberpunk 2077, and I feel like there's this barrier. You don't need to have the story. The story is still relatable, but I feel like you're also... I felt a little bit disconnected from it because I didn't know these places and these things, and like they don't even you can infer what a brain dance is, but Xeno pointed out they don't even tell you what a brain dance is. Like they don't really spell it out for you. There are things that you won't know or won't fully understand or appreciate because you haven't played the game.
Okay, no, I'll give you that.
But still, it
is still amazing.
The actual way they progress, the basic plot of it is that a young boy obtains some military technology in a world where technology is literally grafted onto your skin. You get hardware that is grafted onto you to make you better or change your appearance, do pretty much anything. Make you faster, make you stronger, make you have more memory, more ability. And his mother is killed after she acquires this tech in just a basic drive-by shooting where two gangs were having a fight with each other.
Yeah, completely irrelevant to the situation, but yes.
Yeah,
but yeah, so it's a real a real kick-off for the character.
It felt like a
he's
scene
lost
out of
everything. The
Matrix
only thing he has left
Evolution
is possibly. The only thing he has left is this technology, this Sandevistan, and he grafts it onto himself. He gets his doctor to graft it onto himself so that he can use it.
An illegal doctor.
Yes, these Ripper docs are not sanctioned by anybody, but they do the job. He unfortunately does this, and not knowing that this was actually a bit of tech that had been paid for by the head of a gang, basically, a head of a mercenary group called the Edgerunners. And he meets one of them in a train. She's hacking people's money chip to pop it out of their implant slot in their neck, catch it in midair, and make off with it as a bit of a running thief. And he helps her out. She's fairly attractive, and he gets interested and can use his own sound of his stand to basically run down an entire train car before anybody can even see him. So, but she reports him into her group, and to pay them back, he starts to work for them. But the whole thing about these situations is that it's a cycle.
It's also kind of like he's looking for a family, though, and he finds he's looking for that with them.
It's really interesting because there's one line from the Dread movie with Carl Urban that really describes the whole setting of Night City, which is in Dread, Mega City 1 is a meat grinder. People go in, meat comes out. And that's what Night City is. It is just like, as Thaylien previously said, it's not about how you live, it's about how you die. And I just love it. I love the relationships between everyone. I love the fact that Studio Trigger pulls 0 punches throughout the entire thing.
People die violently.
Yeah.
There is no quiet death in this film. In this series. It just does not happen.
It feels like a film, doesn't it?
And the thing is that they really hit the nail on the head with this idea that the corporations out there run everything. There is no real freedom, governmental control here. The corporations run everything. Their infighting, their constant bid for monopoly will just grind normal people between them.
Well, even school is essentially just
betrayed. Everyone can be swayed with enough money, it seems. And the few that can't are the ones that end up the most dead.
It's honestly, it's a fantastic series. I will say this is definitely a runner for anime of 2022.
On style alone, I think it takes it.
Oh,
but
and action.
even plot, right? The English voice acting is fantastic. The fact that I can't remember, I can never remember the actor's name.
The one that plays David?
No, the one that plays Faraday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yes, him.
He plays Gus Frayne in Breaking Bad. I cannot remember his name. But he was phenomenal in this. He was such a iconic character with that voice, right?
Indeed.
I get the impression that he's a nerd in real life.
I'll give them special marks for the most popular song currently on iTunes. It was the part of their soundtrack. I Want to Stay at Your House.
Yeah, I'm not lying.
Final episode thing, that one is a genuinely, when you actually put it in context, it's a tearjerker. But when you listen to it out of context, it's still a fantastic song.
The best thing is, it's actually part of the game. All the music from the series comes from the game. It's just like, hold on, this is in the game. Like, because again, some of the big news about this is the fact that the number of players that started playing the game again, they've hit, was it 20 million units sold? And they topped Steam's charts because of this, right? And it's fantastic. I mean, yes, they put in a lot of labor of love to make the game what it should have been when it originally went out in 2020, but like,
this is the best advertising they could have ever done.
Really, it really is, right? And
I'd love to see more games do this sort of thing, but it has to be an actually good game and not a crappy game.
Yeah, but the best thing was,
I'm not so sure about the MiHoYoverse ones going on there.
Oh god,
a Warframe one though,
maybe. But the best thing is, like, I was playing the game again. I got to this one place. I'm like, wait a second, why do I recognize that? You shut up! I'm gonna, I just beat up the characters. Like, where's this music coming from? I was just constantly wandering around the room trying to find the music source. I'm like, it's in the game.
It's in the game.
But yeah, it's an absolutely fantastic series. I will highlight the content warnings seriously.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of graphic sex in there and violence and just oh my god.
Yep.
Drug use. It's
even
not for
even
kids.
just basic public indecency with a guy peeing in a barrel on screen.
I mean,
For like 10 minutes.
There was some of the other stuff, but yeah, it is not for kids. It is very adult themed, and it was again that question actually came up during the interview between Joey and the executive producer at Trigger. And he's like, "What age group is this?" Which got done for us? Oh, adults and anyone from middle school up.
What?
Maybe not middle school up. Maybe a bit later. But yeah, it was funny.
I mean, unless they mean middle school is like high school, maybe. If you're like 17 or 18, maybe.
It was translated, so I imagine it was probably.
I'm going to make one reference: the animators of Moana. If you saw the movie,
right? Yeah.
There's this line they put into the movie: "The chicken lives." They put that at the end of the movie, but because in the animation, they were seriously considering cutting the chicken out of the movie entirely.
Right.
I mean, it barely adds anything at all.
Yeah.
But it's a fairly decent little side character.
It's just a random animal companion, yeah.
Yes. So I'm going to bring that back with the Lowly Lives. Because they were going to cut her.
They wanted to cut her.
Design.
Oh. Well, no. Studio Trigger said, "Fuck you."
Yeah, they did, and it was the thing. So,
well, as far as we're aware,
CD Projekt Red did put out a tweet saying, "Yeah, no, they did tell us that we don't get Rebecca, you don't get your anime." But then we saw the design of Rebecca, and we're like, "Oh, yeah, let's go for it."
Yeah.
Do you mean CD Projekt Red said that?
Yes.
Yes, they put out a tweet stating that. So. I think maybe it was damage control, but at the same time, it's a nice thing. So they confirmed that Trigger said, "No Rebecca, no anime."
Fair.
So the Lowly lives.
The lolly that spawned a million memes.
Oh yes.
About answering doors.
And to the people out there, the artists out there that are doing epilogue comics of the characters that survived going back and finding her and saving her, you are all doing God's work right now.
Fair. That's it for the season. We're not going to go over previews because let's face it,
I haven't even looked yet.
For 2 hours, right? Oh no, I have, but still it's like 2 hours. But anyway, supporter questions, right? So as Rugal says, before we start the supporter questions, I'm going to ask everyone to make sure that you subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share it if you can. It really helps.
Indeed.
Today's question is, what have you been watching lately? Let us know in the comment section below. That's to everyone that's watching. And the answer should be Cyberpunk Edgerunners. Right, so as we will also ask, how would you rate this season of anime compared to other seasons? Quite mid, to be fair.
There was a lot that we dropped, but there was also some really shining examples of good stuff.
Yeah, you take the median, it was just low. There were the mean gets dragged up by the high points.
Yeah, but there was just a lot of meh.
Yep. Zul also asks, how do you like your new place? It is good as long as I stop hitting my head.
I'm loving mine. Mine's great. I like mine.
You've been living there for God knows how long.
1 year.
Yeah. So
it's still new to me. I'm old.
I'm pretty sure this is the first Kanpai Cast we're recording in my new place. I've got some models out on display, but I haven't put them all out.
Yeah, it would have been last week's one, but of course that didn't happen. So
we did the news, but that's but not the actual. Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice, and I like Good Boy Internet.
The green background. That's what we did for this.
I could turn that on, but I won't.
No, you won't. Right. Okay. So moving on. Nasuth, by any other name, asks, if there was an original anime that got turned into a movie that then got to a manga adaptation, which was then adapted into a live-action movie that was then adapted back into an anime, would you watch it?
I think I'd be obligated to.
It depends if it was any good.
It's like Backstroke of the West. I think I'd have to see it. It's going to be terrible. It's almost certainly going to be terrible.
You just read Backstroke of the West.
Well, I mean, I've listened
Just
to
read
it.
the script of it. Just read-
Somebody did an actual. Well, they didn't do the whole movie, but they did a big chunk of it with actual voice acting. Oh,
anyway,
so good.
Moving on. Right. Nasuth by any other name also asks, what character do you get when you cross a sailor with a cow? Sailor Moo. A royalist only for Liz. Yeah, exactly. We all know that Xeno is a fan of Mushoku Tensei, and we also know that he is a fan of collecting anime figures. How tempted does the rest of the cast think Xeno is when we tell him that there's not only a Moxie Migurada, or I don't know,
a Roxy Magurdia, a figure of Roxy Magurdia
that you can buy, but there's also but also one that's true to the dual mode figure created in the show. I was actually well aware of that. Also, you like, for everyone else, you'll notice, I'm trying to point to it, that's Roxy right there in the background. Because that's an android.
He did provide a video, but yes. I don't think it's...
We can't show that video. It's incredibly blurred out on YouTube.
Okay, right. So what was it? A royalist only for Liz also asks, given the success of the new Cyberpunk Edgerunners, I can predict that it will have come up in this week's show. Who would have fucking thought?
No.
I can see the future. I can see the future. So I need to ask the question, how long did it take for you to realize that the show is basically a Gamika Kill in Cyberpunk universe? No, it fucking isn't.
It is.
I've never watched a Gamika Kill, so I wouldn't know.
A Gamika Kill, nothing fucking happens in a Gamika Kill.
Literally,
Absolutely
all of the same character beats get hit.
Oh no, characters die, therefore it's the same thing.
Yeah, including picking up the super armor and dying so
it's
that
not
one
the same
girl
thing.
can
It's not the
actually
same
live
thing.
and go
You
on
don't
with
even
it.
have the same villains. Like the fucking one of the biggest things about a Gamika Kill is the weird fan fetish of the I don't know her name at all. Like the
She's
military
just a hand smasher in that world.
Oh, fuck off. Fuck off. Anyway, alright, so moving on to the comments. Right, so first comments from Kanpai News. Alex says, guys, I'm really loving the news videos, and my wife, me and my wife are finding out so much. Thanks for the good info. You're welcome.
I'm glad somebody appreciates it.
Zrugal says, yes, Dress Up Darling Season 2. Woo! It's very, very true.
Can I get my hands to...
Yeah.
Oh, it's not doing it. Oh, well.
And now, on last week's Kanpai Cast comments, Nick Evans says, Yee binge-watching Buffy and Angel has instantly put her into the range of my favorite people in the world.
Love you, Yee.
Zrugal says, no, the offensive Quagmire bits from Family Guy are early on, not later on. It really depends on your definition of early on. I
That's
remember
true.
watching... I'm pretty sure I watched, like... Oh, God, was it 6 seasons of Family Guy? I mean, you know... I watched a video about that a short time ago. He was supposed to be a throwaway character at first, then Seth MacFarlane kept him because he was easier to keep established personalities than to make new ones. As MacFarlane has stepped up further and further away, the new writers have done more and more with Quagmire and taken his character away from what it used to be for inappropriate jokes and lewd puns. Strombus Voidshell says, Nasuth, bro, sometimes for fun, I count how many times you interrupt people. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can you give a count for me this week? That'd be fantastic.
I was going to say they should make a game. Everyone in the comments should make a game out of it and see how many times everyone's interrupted. It's going to be me. I'm going to be the winner. But
yeah, of course it is.
But not a drinking game.
No, not a
You
drinking
will die.
No.
Right.
I just get excited and I need to tell you things.
Oh, God. Right. Okay.
With that said and done.
Cool. There we go. Time for memes. Ready for memes? You get
No.
memes?
I'm never ready for memes.
Technical difficulties.
What's the technical?
What's the difficulty?
Right.
So meme number 1. Trigger in the studio like, yeah, this should make them kill themselves. Drop it.
Whoa!
It's so, man. Oh, it's so deep. It's so deep.
I don't think trigger our outs actually get us to commit suicide.
No, of course not.
But
Maybe just commit Sudoku.
Yeah.
Anyway,
There you go.
Let's
next one. Meme number 2. The anime, the manga.
I shouldn't laugh, but I'm sorry. Oh my god.
Number 3.
I always thought it was... Oh god.
Oh, sorry. No, go ahead. What?
I always thought it was stupid how that character held his guns. Like, I'm gonna fire with the pinky finger.
Yeah.
Why? You have the least amount of control with that.
So bad. You're gonna
I'm
break your forearm bones. Anyway, so we have Michael Jackson, and somebody commented, "Why did you kill Tanjiro's family?" And he says, "You know I'm bad. Now beat it."
Oh my god.
Yeah, good old that good old gem of a joke. I don't give a fuck about anything. Oh, anime titties. Ooh, don't say. Don't mind if I do.
Okay.
Me a few seconds after my ad block stopped working. Morning builds in my area. So true. So true. And finally, the difference between...
They might be right in my cast.
The difference between rich and poor is not buying anime merch.
Too true. So my first meme.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry, this was
my goodness.
hilarious.
That's beautiful.
I found this, I was just like, how can I not? Yep. So we got Broly, Super Broly, and Aqua. Yep.
Oh goodness, okay.
Oh, well done.
30-year-old me with a random stick I found. Yep.
Because the meme before that was 3-year-old me with a random stick I found, and it's still 30 years on.
And then we have the manga. Yeah, anyway. The Netflix adaptation.
I swear we've had this one before.
Have we? I know
Maybe.
Maybe. It's possible.
It's still good. It's still funny. Then
my fourth one. Sub or dub? This is a sub home, but we do respect people that do dub. Edgerunners is dubbed by Giancarlo Esposito. Oh, for fuck's sake! Now I need to watch the fucking inferior dump bullshit. Seriously, he is phenomenal in it.
They all are, honestly.
Yep. And wait, is that... Okay, this is my last one. Okay, Nero.
Let me double... Oh no, sorry. Yes,
I thought it was wrong. Right. Do you think David can use the Sendavistan to move other people without him noticing? So move another guy without him noticing. What? Like, you know, stand upstairs and tell a guy down there, go upstairs if you want to fight me. And when he goes upstairs, David moves him one stair down instead without him noticing.
Oh my god.
Playing with his mind, you know.
God.
Jesse, what the fuck are you talking about?
I get it. No, it's a reference. Yeah. It's a JoJo reference.
Yeah, it's a JoJo reference.
Oh my god, I can't believe I got that.
Right, and then last but not least, Nier Anime official reveal to be now an anime girl. Every single waifu in existence. Intense manic and existential dread. And of course you got
Speedwagon. See you there, Speedwagon.
Got Speedwagon in there.
I just want to throw out there. Notice how Marin Katagawa's in there. Kitagawa, rather.
Yeah.
And your isn't.
Well, they only got so much room.
Mic drop.
Yeah, but she's married, so...
Yeah,
anyway.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
She's a married girl. Can't.
She's an actual wife, not a waifu.
But is she an actual wife? Because it's not a legal marriage. It's not. It's a sham. Anyway,
You can find more
that
memes.
is it.
You know, you can find more memes at twitter.com/Kanpai_cast. You forgot to say that earlier.
Well, that was because I was trying to get the memes.
You were trying to make me get my memes that I forgot. You know.
For clarity,
I was the only one who forgot memes. Yep.
No, for clarity, right? I forgot my memes, and I was going to get them before we started recording, but Reddit was down, so I couldn't. So he paused partway through thing, and then Nasuth goes, "Wait, do I need to get my memes too?"
I swear
shit!
I had some in there from last week.
Right. Okay. So that's it for this week. Next week. We have things.
I don't remember what we have, actually, so we'll find out.
It's in the calendar. Okay, fine.
Excitement?
But
yeah.
It could be.
Not
anyway,
anime reviews.
Anyway, that is it for this week. Thank you very much for watching / listening. And now it's time to bottoms up and Kanpai! My glass is already empty.
His glass is already empty. I don't even have my glass. Bye!